Hello everybody and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts HD Dream Drop Distance playthrough. It is time for us to continue on with our journey through the world that never was. We're in the Walk of Delusions, which is quite fitting because this room is really weird. Basically, the way in which you are going to progress through it is by breaking up the mirages and then climbing all the way through to the next one and the next one and the next one until you finally escape the room. But yeah, we are effectively today gonna finish Riku's main gameplay, well, main exploration, shall I say, of the world that never was. There is also going to be quite a lot of setup for what we're going to face going forward, because basically as soon as we get to the end of Riku's exploration, we are effectively in nearly final boss territory. I mean, we'll be definitely in Riku's final boss territory. But obviously Sora does have some exploration to go, because obviously you've seen that he does have treasure chests to pick up. But basically that's not going to happen until Riku drops, and I'm not going to let Riku drop until we are done here. But yeah, this is why this particular area can get somewhat confusing, because you've got all these different nooks and crannies and paths over things. Basically, as long as you just sort of follow the route round, you've got all sorts of dead ends, so it's nothing major to worry about in terms of getting lost. And once you're completely done with the whole thing, you're pretty much sorted. Also, come on, I'm so close. I just need one more link with Connor, the Tyrantorex, and then I can get my once more. It's all I need. And there we go. Once this is done, I can get my once more and I can stop banging on about the damn thing. But what I won't kind of stop banging on about is actually how awesome Zero Gravisa is. Obviously, it's not going to be of much use at all on any of the bosses that we're going to run into. I wish it was. Like, obviously, Vanitas being weak to zero gravity. Same with Zack, I think, actually. Whenever the enemies are actually weak to some of those types of moves, it's always quite awesome. So when they're not, it's just a little bit like, oh. But I will definitely be making use of Zero Gravisa whilst it is definitely going to do as good. And also, I do really actually like the Mirage Split reality shift, largely because it does bring in the whole stained glass effect, which obviously links to the hearts of our characters, because obviously we've seen Sora's heart, and I don't know if we've seen Riku's, but everyone's heart is sort of symbolised by the stained glass windows, which are just utterly delightful. And, you know, since we are... well, we've now got once more, thank the Lord! I can just go on trying to get the rest of these things, but that's going to take as well. Oh, Meteor Crash, that sounds fun. Oh, that sounds quite exciting. And I'm going to have to bring Veronica in here, because I need to get those links up, because we're not far from completing-ish her ability grid. I probably should have kept Connor in there, because Connor's been doing good work. There is the slight annoyance with the Tyrantorex of when he does the biting attack, that he ends up taking away your ability to actually attack the enemies, so they can end up just getting in your way. That's, you know, why I brought him back. wasn't sure Veronica was doing much major damage. Because that's the other thing, is the Tyranitar can do some great damaging attacks, which can be really quite good. But that does that lot. Oh great, now we've just got all the Kiba Tigers up here. These guys I think are basically slightly more powerful versions of the Aura Lions. They're not identical. It's the thing with a lot of the Dream Eaters, that they are close to other types of them. So the Kiba Lions and the Aura Lions are quite similar. The Electricorns and the Pegaslicks. There's the 2 types of Seal, there's the 2 types of Bunny. I think it's Mimi Bunny, which is what Veronica is, and then you've got, I think, Magic Lappin, which is what those ones with the sort of the pointy hats are. Although I really should probably say Lapin rather than Lapin. Basically, it's rabbit in French, I think. And I believe that this is the last Mirage that we have to deal with. So, no more Mirage splitting after this, I think. Obviously, we'll have whatever Sora's version is, because it is slightly different to Mirage Split. But yeah, I've just got a couple of chests here. And then I can't remember whether there's an area that I might be thinking of that I haven't. Oh, it is this one. Brilliant. So yes, basically there's this room, which is sort of pretty much a sort of horizontal room filled with a couple of rails, which is quite fun. There is one pretty challenging wave of enemies that appears right at the end. Largely because of the frickin' Skeletal Wild, as per usual. But, yeah, it's just this, and then one more room, and, I will say that one's pretty fun, because that's sort of like a massive... How shall I put it? It's like one gigantic vertical shift. And finally I got on top of that. I was beginning to think that it was just going to be a little bit of a disaster, but I made it, and I got a spark raid. I mean, cool, fine, whatever. So, yeah, we are so close to the end of our time exploring the world that never was with Riku. Really, it's quite easy to make sure you pick everything up in Riku's trip to this world, because most of them are along the path. There's nothing overly challenging to face. Although I will say that this special portal is not simple, although I don't know why I'm not taking it on. Because really that would have just saved me a whole bunch of time later down the line. But I think I was just like, no, I don't want to risk screwing it up, I suppose, maybe. Because all it means is that I'm going to have to do that later, and I'm already having a nightmare editing the frickin' thing. Saving myself that hassle would have been beautiful. Because yeah, at this point I've taken me far too blooming long, but I have edited together most of the extras. I've just got one part left to figure out exactly what the hell I'm doing with it. And it's all to do with the special portals. And yeah, let's just say that I seriously need to have a proper think about exactly how I'm playing that one, because oh boy, it's potentially going to be a long one. And it's not quite as easy to pass through and edit together as the others, because the others I'm just like, yes, I can easily segment you into your different slots about what you're covering. But that one, it's just, yeah, it's a lot of battling. I mean, there's just a lot of battling in general in the extras, to be fair. But in particular, that one is going to be quite hefty, and I still need to finish editing it, because, yeah, it just drove me a little bit nuts, but it's okay, and these guys are determined to ruin my day. As I said, this room ends in a pretty hideous wave of enemies. It's because it's a nice big area to take you down in, but yeah, you've got a number of Ryu dragons which can be horrifically deadly. They're not necessarily as horrendous as like the Skeletal Wilds, but the Skeletal Wilds are going to come up, because of course they are. And also that move by the Ryu dragons is surprisingly difficult to avoid, and there's the Skeletal Wild. And yeah, at this point I was just like, please no, please go away. And then I was just like, okay, come on, let's make use of a link attack. And then I was just like, oh no! One of my Dream Eaters has died. Crumbs. And yeah, so basically, you don't think you've seen this yet. You basically do sort of what you do with Mickey in Kingdom Hearts 2. You run up to your ally and you heal the hell out of them. And also it's just like oh god, and now it's going to force me to drop, and I don't want to drop, and why can't I pause? It's because I'm in link attacks, of course I can't. So yeah, this was a fun moment of going, what the hell is happening? Why was that fight so damn difficult? I was just like, I don't want to drop here, no, this is just going to ruin my whole flow. And then thank God I was able to get in. I was just like, oh yes, if I get rid of the link, then I can quickly slide in, get the drop me not, prevent myself from dropping just yet, and then I can go in and finish off that fight and stand a little bit better of a chance, because there's less enemies to murder at this point. It's just the Skeletal World being a nightmare. But we've got that one, so that's good, and break time. It's not really worth it if you ask me, because, you know, it is the whole, it just heals you by doing a little bit of breakdancing, but it's a fun little move all the same, and, oh, a Mega Elixir would be nice, but getting there is going to be a little bit challenging, I feel. Because this is the thing with the R&R seal, is that you've got to basically make the connections via the secret paths, and some of them only appear when you change the disposition of your Dream Eater by feeding it. Which honestly is not the best of moves, but hey, these things cannot be helped all the time. And right, let's see if we can murder these. Well, thankfully that Skeletal Wild went down not too badly. I had done a pretty good number on him before I, you know, ran away screaming. But we've still got one left who had most of his health, and that still isn't helping me completely murder things. So, yeah, it's just like, I need me Kiraga, please. I don't want to die. Can't be doing with that, and oh, thank God for that. Otherwise, I would have been slightly concerned. There is another. Is there a couple of Dream Eaters that are going to show up here or not? I mean, it's a big enough room. Nah, okay, they've decided that they're going to leave me be for now. That's good. But I do need to just check me. Ooh, we're doing well here. Only 7 chests remaining, and I think. I think they are all in the final area that Riku has to visit. And we get there by going up on the lift. Because of course we do. And here we have our final room for Riku. It is very, very, very tall. So effectively the way that you make it through this area is by flow motioning up those pipes just to your left there. And honestly, it's quite fun, it's quite epic, and it really does make it feel like you're on the final stretch before you hit the final boss. Obviously, there's more of the game than just going up here before the final boss. I mean, obviously Sora's got to have a whole trip. Like, obviously there's treasure chests to pick up, and also, you know, it would be a little bit naff if Sora didn't have a final boss fight of some description. Because obviously at the present moment in time it very much feels like he's not going to get it. And Jesus Christ, Josh, you're dead again! I'm beginning to regret this idea. Just like I thought, yeah, let's shove the R&R seal in there, it'll be fine! No, it's not high enough level to be dealing with this properly. I mean, I suppose it's nothing better than trial by fire, but still, it doesn't necessarily always lead to excellent performance. And yeah, I'm trying to block, but what I'm doing is basically just causing rapid descent and shadow strikes. Because basically, this is a cool thing that you can do with this move, is that basically you block and it shunts the enemy up into the air. So you can sort of get a little bit of a combo going. It can be quite useful in terms of causing grief to certain enemies. And in fact, you can really get certain enemies in a bit of a loop with it. But it's still recommended to use sort of your commands, because they're really going to speed up the process of fighting. And you can clearly see at this moment in time, I was just like, you know what, sod the blocking, it's not going to really do me much good at this point in time, so just, yeah, sod it, I'm just going to fight. So yeah, that's that done and dusted. So all that's left to do is just finish exploring the room and we are good to go. Although I say that we're good to go, there is quite a bit more of the video left, and a lot of it, admittedly, is going to be set up. And I'm going to point out the logic behind this now, so that you don't entirely wish to murder me later. Basically, obviously, in the way that I decide to do my playthroughs is I like to show you what my setups are for when I go tackle things, so that you can see what I use and how I use it. Just because in general it's helpful to assist anybody who is thinking of how they want to do these sorts of things. So if you want to take exactly what I've done and try and replicate it, this is sort of the best way of showing you how to do that. But obviously in times that can lead to long stretches of going through menus and stuff, but I feel that it, particularly sort of before we go into boss rush territory, which is basically what is very quickly going to happen to Riku. As soon as we leave this room, all he has left, pretty much until the end of the game, is bosses. So this is your, basically, point of no return warning for Riku. So if you want to level him up, this is effectively your last chance to do so. I believe there is technically one more save point that does come after this, which is your sort of true point of no return, but this is sort of your best place to level up, really, at this moment in time. Which is admittedly not ideal, because I wouldn't say that these enemies give you the most experience in the world. I mean, there's probably a really good area that you can use for grinding levels in Dream Drop Distance, but I've yet to find anywhere that is sort of as good as just trawling through the world that never was. Because these are the strongest enemies, the regular enemies that you can face. So pretty much they are your best bet. So if you're trying to get, I believe there's a trophy that you can get for getting a combined level 100 for Sora and Riku. So if you can get them both up to level 50, then that basically sorts you out. That's your trophy. I think that's how it works. But as you can see, it is slightly easier said than done to achieve that, because we're basically just edging 40. And if I recall correctly, that is something that I chose to ensure that I was at least at level 40 for the sort of final boss circuit, as I suppose I shall call it. Because there are some pretty gosh darn challenging fights that await us, and it's definitely possible to do it all on like level 35 at standard. Definitely possible. And I'm missing 2 chests. Thankfully they're right at the end, so that's okay. They should just be right by the save point, I think. But yeah, because of the difficulty that some of these fights may cause for you, and some of them are pretty awful in terms of their difficulty. Like, I mean, there is a fight that we're going to come up against in the next part, actually, which I think a lot of people would, well, 2 fights actually in the next part, which a lot of people would point to as being particularly challenging fights. There is one that is sort of your actual final boss, which is, well, yeah, your actual final boss, that a lot of people find to probably be the hardest fight in the game outside of the secret boss. But still. Also, we are now basically at that point where it's effectively going to be all set up now for the end. So, in the time that I cut out pretty much before we properly I think it was before we entered into the world that never was. This is basically what I spent most of my time doing, was flinging all of this food at my lovely spirits. Generally what ends up happening is that if you pop in 3, then each of them will get 1. It doesn't always work out like that, but it can just about follow that path. Also, I really want Meteor Crash, but I'm not quite there yet. I think I might have to just sort of work around to the other bits first, because 400s is quite a ways away right now. Not quite there yet. And also, for some reason, I don't know why, I am really bad at knowing which buttons I'm pressing whenever I'm doing this. You'll have noticed it whenever I'm exploring my menus. I frequently end up going in and out of menus when I don't necessarily mean to. So I'm just like, yep, this is the thing. And this is an example of changing the disposition of a Dream Eater. So we just changed Connor to Road Killer. And as you will see, when I eventually go to Connor's board, and oh, Balloonga! That's what I want. That was the reason I got the R&R seal out. I wanted that Balloonga. And that was a complete and utter waste of my time. Joy. You can see my brain is going, why did I use that? But yeah, basically we are going to get that. I'm determined that will be there before the end of the game. But yeah, I will look at Connor's ability grid shortly. I suppose it's because I was just like, well, I know I can't unlock anything now anyway, so why would I bother? I'm going to at least feed him full of so much more stuff. So yeah, the idea here was basically just fill them full of goodness so that they are as powerful as they can be, and I can get as many of the abilities as possible. Honestly, you will be sat here a while if you're doing this. I mean, I can't remember exactly how long I spent to get up to like the over 500 link points I'd gotten to prior to this instance. But I do remember it being quite a while. So I suppose this was sort of as I had to suffer through all of that, so you guys are going to have to suffer through at least one instance of it, just to see exactly how I went about the whole thing. That's it. It is really quite cute because you do get to spend time with your Dream Eaters. It's not quite as fun as, you know, when they're on the 3DS and you get to physically kind of pet them with your stylus or your finger, and they're sort of right there, and that's just quite cute. It's the reason Nintendox was always quite delightful. But it's not something that obviously you can do on the PS4. And oh, thank God for that. That was the secret I needed, because that's opened up a ludicrous amount. And all I need to do is I need to get up to 150 for Balloonga. So you know what? That is what I'm going to work my way towards. This is what this is all in aid of. I got my once more. I just need to get Josh to that 100, I think it was 150 link points, so that I can get Balloonga, because Balloonga is going to be very helpful in the fights to come. Basically mix up a Balloonga with a Balloonra or two, and you are good to go. It's just like, just come on guys, I need you to eat. Just eat as much as is physically possible, because I need those link points. I need them desperately. Just need you to behave and, you know, do what you're told. Eat and don't run off the screen, Josh. It's bad practice. It's just, I mean, clearly he's camera shy, but really he needs to be better behaved because he's withholding one of the magic attacks that I really would like to use in my upcoming battles, and also it would be quite helpful for Sora when he's exploring the world that never was. So, I'm not quite sure what this puts us up to. I'm pretty sure it's not quite as near to the 150 link points as I would like. But I suppose we've got his disposition changed, so it's worth having at least a look at what's occurred. Absolutely nothing. Oh, we are 100 away, but we have at least gotten Veronica's break time there. Obviously, there are still points that we can get. We've not really made much progress on Connor's board. I thought we would have done. Hey, I suppose let's just work our way over to. I think that's Froggerburst? Yeah, that's Froggerburst. Froggerburst is very good, it just takes a while to make use of. And yeah, pretty much what I believe I did was, yeah, use up all of these. And then when I believed that that wasn't quite enough, I suppose, to get me exactly where I wanted to be, I did end up going and grinding out. So you will see at the start of the next part, I believe, all that this was in aid of. But yeah, this can take a long time, and I mean also, I feel really sorry for anybody who is going for the 100% completion of all of the ability link grids, because, like, my god, doing that for every single Dream Eater is ridiculous. Like, just absolutely ridiculous. And the other thing that I was deciding was just like, which Dream Eater should I fling in here to get used on? And I thought Phoebus would be a good one to round out the team, because I thought he was the one who was giving me loads of good help, like healing items and buffs. He wasn't, but I hoped that he was. But it's fine, because he's still going to be quite useful to us, because I believe that he is actually going to be the only Dream Eater where I'm actually going to 100% max out the his ability link grid. Which is kind of insane when you think about it. But either way, those are the last two treasure chests that we had to get to, so that's good. I was just looking to see if there's anything fun and extra that I could get there, but there wasn't really. So now the choice is, let's just sell all the rubbish that I don't actually need. Or not. Clearly, I just was in a world of my own. I mean, I suppose you would be too, after kind of nearly, well, just over 18 hours of playing a game. It can drive you a little bit balmy. And yeah, there's me getting confused by Defender again as well, but once again, it's not one of the abilities that sticks to your character. It is entirely related to your Dream Eaters, who you have out at the time. Which, I don't know why I didn't understand that at the time that I was playing. But, hey, it's one of those things that happens. But yes, as you can see, all of Riku's treasure chests have been collected, which makes me very, very, very happy. And I will say that outside of like the rare Dream Eaters, like the rare Nightmares, we have pretty much found and fought every single Dream Eater in the game. There is really only one more Dream Eater fight, and that is going to come up in the next part. Because Riku's journey is going to end in a lot of fights. Like, Kingdom Hearts is generally always well known for its multi-phase final boss fights, or its multiple final boss fights, and you are going to see that in full effect here. And this... So you see, this was the bit where I was just like, in between, did a load of grinding, and lot of feeding, and look! Ability link board complete. That was because of a change in disposition, and that did that. Also got us enough to get Balloonga, which made me really, really, really happy. So I will take all of that, and then I can get those two secrets as well. I don't think they're exactly going to do anything. Yeah, I didn't think so. And while we can't get any of the attacks with Connor, we can still at least get that. And I think that with a little bit of a shifting up to our command deck, obviously Zero Gravisa is not going to do us any good going forward. So we're going to switch that out for Balloonga. Drop Me Nots, definitely need those right now, because obviously we're going into a boss fight. And I don't want to be low on the drop gauge, because the last thing I want is for us to drop during the middle of a boss fight, because that will not be fun. And that's why I was thinking, do I leave my Drop Me Nots in there just in case? Shadow Breaker's not of any use to me. I don't like the going forward and going back. I never quite know exactly where I'm going to end up landing. So I'm just like, nah, gonna leave that be. But the question of what to replace it with is a bit more difficult. Really, what I would probably recommend is putting in like a triple plasma or another Balloonra. Basically, stock up on Balloonras, Balloongas, triple plasmas, anything that hurts and has some form of homing shot. Any of them, great choices. And also you can see that I did level up quite a lot during that in-between period, so I ended up getting up to level 42 instead of just 40, so yeah, then all we have to do is just, well, initially I was like, I'm just going to wait for all of them to kind of fill up, but no, we're just going to go straight on into it, and Riku's bosses are about to begin. Let's go.